A car door slammed so hard it echoed across the quiet street. Zaria flinched, her suitcase bumping against her leg as she turned. 15 years away, and the first thing she heard returning home was the sound of someone stepping out of a luxury SUV like they own the city. She wasn't expecting anyone. She hadn't told anyone she was coming back. But the moment the tall figure stepped into the dull glow of the streetlight, her heart stumbled. The air tightened. Her fingers froze around the suitcase handle. He didn't move at first, just stood there staring at her, stunned like he couldn't believe she was real. The breeze tugged at his jacket, but he didn't react. His voice, deep and almost disbelieving, finally broke the silence. "You came back, after all these years." Zaria's breath caught. She hadn't heard that voice since she was a grieving 17-year-old who ran from everything she knew. "Malakai," she whispered. He took a slow step forward, the same calm, deliberate way he always moved when something mattered to him. But this time there was something else in his eyes, years. So many years she couldn't read at once. She stepped back instinctively. How did you even know I was here?" "I didn't," he said softly. "I was just driving by. Guess some things don't need warnings." Her pulse hammered. She hadn't expected this. She barely had time to breathe before her past reached out and grabbed her by the throat. Malakai stopped a few feet from her, giving her space, but his eyes stayed locked on hers. It felt like he was studying a ghost, or trying to confirm she was really flesh and bone. "You look different," he said, "but also not at all." She looked away. Compliments from Malakai always had weight, even when they were simple. "It's been 15 years, people change." His voice lowered. "Some things don't." That line settled into her chest, with a warmth she didn't want to acknowledge. She set her suitcase down, hands trembling lightly. "I didn't plan to run into anyone. I just needed a moment before figuring things out." "You don't have to figure everything alone." "I've been doing exactly that for 15 years, she replied sharply. He didn't flinch. Instead, he nodded, quietly accepting the hit. After a tense pause, he asked, "Can we talk, not here?" Zaria hesitated. Every part of her wanted to protect herself, to stay distant, but curiosity tugged at her, and maybe something else, something old, something painful. Finally, she nodded. He opened the back door of the SUV for her. She climbed in, sinking into the leather seat, trying not to think about how different her life was from his now. When he got in beside her, the driver silently pulled away from the curb. The city lights blurred past the windows as Zaria finally asked, "What have you been doing all these years?" He glanced at her, working, building, trying to keep a promise. Her eyebrows drew together. "What promise?" He didn't answer immediately. His jaw tightened slightly, like the truth weighed more than he was ready to drop. "We'll talk upstairs." "Upstairs?" "Where are we going?" she asked. "Rooftop lounge. Quiet, neutral territory." Neutral? She almost smiled at that. Malakai always spoke like every word had been pre-screened. When the SUV pulled into the underground parking of a tall glass building, Zaria swallowed hard. She remembered this place from news articles, from billboards, from the whispers of people who once knew him. This wasn't just a building. This was the headquarters of Cole Technologies. She followed him into a private elevator. The ride was silent, except for the soft hum of machinery. At the rooftop, the doors opened to a breathtaking view. The entire city stretched out beneath them. Warm lights, cool breeze, space, silence. She stepped forward, letting the air brush against her face. "You own all this," she murmured. "No," he replied simply. "I just built it." She turned to him. "Why am I here, Malakai?" He exhaled slowly. "Because you deserve answers." Her heartbeat quickened. "About what?" He didn't look away from her, even for a second. "About why you never fell," he said. "Why every time life tried to break you, help showed up. Why your scholarship didn't disappear when you were struggling. Why you always managed to land on your feet." Cold shock rippled through her. She blinked hard. "What are you talking about? Malakai, what did you do?" His voice was low, steady. Zaria, I made a promise to your mother, and I kept it. Her stomach twisted. The rooftop suddenly felt too big, too exposed. My mother, Zaria whispered. He nodded once. She asked me to look after you, to protect you. She didn't want you drowning in responsibilities you were too young to carry. Zaria's chest tightened painfully. Why didn't you tell me? Because you would have left anyway, he said gently. And I wasn't supposed to trap you. I was supposed to make sure you had options. She shook her head in disbelief. You paid for my scholarship. Not all of it, but when it was in danger, yes. My housing. Only when you were almost evicted. The landlord wasn't listening to your emails. My medical internship grant. The foundation needed a push. I pushed. Her breath trembled. Why Malakai? Why all of this? Why for me? He looked away for the first time, his voice dropping to a raw honesty she had never heard from him before. Because you were alone, he said. Because your mother trusted me. Because I couldn't watch you break when you deserved so much more. Because... He stopped, jaw tight. Because what? She pressed. His eyes lifted to hers, unguarded and heavy with years. Because I loved you, he said quietly. A long time ago, longer than I should admit. The world stilled. Zaria stared at him, frozen. You what? He didn't blink. I've loved you since we were kids, and I still do. Her chest fluttered painfully. Malakai, you can't just say things like that. I'm not saying it to get anything from you, he said firmly. I'm saying it because you deserve the truth. You've deserved it your entire life. She stepped back, overwhelmed. I don't understand. You helped me for 15 years because you were in love with me. Malakai, that's insane. No, he said, stepping forward slightly. Insane would have been letting you suffer when I could help. Insane would have been pretending I didn't care. You should have told me. If I told you then, you would have felt trapped, or indebted, or guilty. You already carried too much. Her eyes burned, and now, he said softly, you're an adult. You make your own choices, and I'm done hiding from mine. She took a shaky breath. Malakai, I don't even know what to feel. You don't have to feel anything, he replied. Not tonight, I just needed you to know. Silence settled between them, thick and trembling. Zaria finally turned away, needing space to breathe. He didn't follow. He just stood behind her, waiting, the way he had waited for 15 years. When she finally spoke, her voice was soft but heavy. I need time. You can take all the time you need, he said. I waited 15 years, Zaria. I can wait a little longer. Her chest squeezed painfully. I'm not asking you to wait. I'm not waiting because you asked me to, he said. I'm waiting because I want to. Her eyes closed. She couldn't handle the weight of that. After a few moments, she whispered, Take me home. He nodded once and escorted her back to the elevator, silent, respectful, patient. During the ride, she felt his presence beside her, warm, steady, familiar in a way she had forgotten. When they reached her old street, she got out slowly. He stepped out with her but didn't come closer than a few feet. Good night, Zaria, he said softly. She hesitated. Good night, Malakai. He got back in the SUV and drove away, leaving her standing alone beneath the streetlight, her heart in trembling pieces she didn't know how to sort. Inside her quiet room, Zaria fell onto the bed, hands pressed to her face as everything crashed over her. He had loved her. For years. Silently. Faithfully. Without ever asking for anything in return. Her chest shook with a breath she didn't realize she was holding. She remembered flashes, him walking her mother to the hospital, him sitting beside her in silence at the funeral, him offering to help with homework, him standing in the rain because she refused to go home. He had always been there. Always. She didn't sleep that night. And by morning, one thought wouldn't leave her mind. Why does someone wait 15 years, unless the love never went away? Zaria stepped outside just after sunrise, the soft gold light brushing the quiet street. Her mind was still tangled, thoughts running into each other with no space to breathe. She needed air, clarity, anything to quiet the storm Malakai had stirred up. She walked for almost an hour before ending up at the small park where she used to sit with her mother. The benches were faded now, the trees taller, but the memories felt untouched. She sank onto a seat and pressed her palms together, forcing herself to breathe. 15 years. 15 years of her building a life far away, thinking no one cared. 15 years of challenges, she thought she survived alone. 15 years of pain, she believed no one noticed. But Malakai had noticed everything. A sudden movement caught her attention. A shadow stretched across the ground before a soft voice said, "Do you mind if I sit?" Zaria's heart jumped. She looked up quickly, relief washing over her as she realized it wasn't Malakai. It was Mrs. Tund, her mother's old friend. Zaria sat up straighter. "Auntie, I didn't know you still came here." "I never stopped," the older woman said, settling beside her with a sigh. "This place holds memories." Zaria nodded quietly. Mrs. Tund's eyes softened. "You look troubled, my dear." Zaria swallowed. "A lot has happened." The woman didn't pry. She simply waited. Zaria finally whispered, "Did you know about Malakai helping me?" For a moment, Mrs. Tund blinked. Then she gave a small, knowing nod. "He told me he would watch over you. He made that promise the day your mother passed." The confirmation tightened Zaria's chest. "So everyone knew except me." No, the woman said gently. "He didn't tell anyone the details, just that he would keep an eye on you, and he did, quietly, respectfully. The boy cared deeply." Zaria stared at the ground. "Why didn't he tell me? Why keep something like that from me?" "Because your mother asked him not to burden you," she replied. "She knew you had dreams bigger than this place. She didn't want you looking back." Zaria's eyes stung. "I thought I was alone." "Oh, child," she whispered, patting Zaria's hand. "You were never alone, you just didn't see the hands holding you up." A breath trembled out of her. She leaned back against the bench, overwhelmed yet strangely grounded. After a moment, Mrs. Tund rose. "Go and find clarity, Zaria, and remember, love shows itself in action, not just words." When the old woman left, Zaria remained seated, staring up at the slow-moving clouds. Every part of her felt shaken. But under the confusion, something warm pulsed, something she didn't want to name yet. She finally stood and began walking back home. As she reached her gate, a figure was standing just a few steps away. Her heart skipped. Malakai wasn't facing her. He was leaning slightly forward, studying the old brick wall of her childhood home like it held something he needed. Zaria froze. He turned the moment he heard her footsteps. His eyes flickered with surprise, then softened with relief. "I didn't want to disturb you," he said quietly. "I just wanted to make sure you got home safe last night." "You came back," she said. He nodded once. "I didn't know if you'd want to see me, but I'm here if you do." A long silence stretched between them, heavy but not bitter. Zaria walked closer, stopping a few feet away. "Did you sleep?" He shook his head. "I wouldn't have no matter what. You're important." She swallowed. "I didn't sleep either." His expression shifted slightly, concern mixing with something tender. "You're overwhelmed," he murmured. "I'm sorry for that." "You didn't do anything wrong," she admitted softly. "I just didn't expect any of this." He exhaled slowly, his shoulders relaxing a little. "If you want space, I'll give it. If you want to talk, I'll listen. If you want nothing to do with me, I'll stay out of your way. This isn't about me. It never was." She shook her head. "Stop. You keep acting like your feelings don't matter." "They matter," he said. "They just don't outrank yours." Zaria took a breath, steadying herself. "Come inside, please." He hesitated but followed her. The living room looked smaller than she remembered. She sat on the couch, and he took the chair opposite her, giving her more space than necessary. She studied him carefully. The expensive clothes, the calm posture, the unreadable expression. He looked like the powerful man the world admired. But beneath all that, she saw the same boy who once held her hand at her mother's hospital bed. The same boy who used to wait outside her gate with homework sheets because she was too sad to focus. The same boy who showed up when no one else did. She finally spoke. Do you regret it? His eyebrows lifted slightly. Regret what? Everything you did for me. He shook his head immediately. Not for a second. Even though you never said anything. I didn't want gratitude, he answered. I didn't want you feeling controlled. I just wanted you safe. What about wanting me? She asked quietly. His breath caught, but he didn't hide it. I wanted you every year you were gone, he said. But wanting something and trying to force it are different things. Her fingers curled softly against her thigh. You loved me all that time. Yes. She didn't know what hit her harder, the simplicity or the certainty. She took another breath. Malakai, all this time I thought the world was against me. I thought I fought alone. You fought, he said, but you didn't fall, that's the difference. Her eyes burned. Why are you always like this? Like what? Gentle, she whispered, even now. He smiled faintly. I'm not gentle with many people. Just me. He nodded. Just you. For a moment, she couldn't speak. He stood slowly. Zaria, I should go. You need time to process. If you want to talk again, just call me. If not, I'll understand. He started walking toward the door. And something inside her panicked. She stood quickly. Malakai, wait. He turned. She stepped toward him, hands trembling slightly. You walked away once already, when I left the country. I don't want you walking away again without hearing me clearly. His posture shifted, subtle hope flickering in his eyes. She swallowed hard. You helped me because you cared. You stayed away because you respected me. You waited because you believed something in me was worth waiting for. You were worth everything, he whispered. Her breath shuddered. I don't know what I feel yet, but I know this. I don't want you disappearing again. I don't want distance. He stared at her for a few seconds, making sure she meant it. I won't disappear, he said firmly. Not unless you push me away. I'm not pushing you away. His chest rose with a slow inhale. She stepped back, overwhelmed but firm. Just stay close, not too close, but close enough that I know you're there. He nodded once. I can do that. There was no dramatic hug, no sudden confession, no sweeping gesture. Just two people, standing in the middle of a small living room, finally facing 15 years of silence. He left slowly, this time looking back before he stepped out the door. When it closed, Zaria pressed a hand to her chest. For the first time in 15 years, she felt something she hadn't allowed herself to feel. Hope. That night, she opened her old journal, the one she kept before leaving the country. The last entry stopped her breath. I wish someone would stay, just one person. I don't want to be forgotten. She traced the faded ink with her fingertip. She wasn't forgotten. She was remembered more deeply than she ever imagined. Her heart felt like it was slowly stitching itself back together. If you enjoyed this story moment, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more emotional stories.